Hi, guys.
Welcome to the second episode of Bunny Chat.
In this episode, we'll discuss the best and worst conventions that we've attended this far.
We will map out our ranking system and rate it 1 through 5.
Our ranking system will cover unloading and teardown, check-in, staffing, floor layout and amenities, application process and marketing, curation of artists and uniqueness, parking, and location. Ani will start us off with her best, average, and worst conventions.
For my best convention, I would say it is TECO. TECO is an anime convention located in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and we vended there in 2023. My rating out of 5 is 4 for this convention. My highlights were the fashion show was really nice. We got into the convention because we won a spot in their fashion show. So that was really cool that we got to participate. The crowd at the convention as a whole was amazing. We got a lot of sales and people were really happy to see us after we were in the fashion show. So we really vibed with the crowd. The food was also reasonably priced. It was located in the Pittsburgh Convention Center. We were able to get most things for, I feel under $10, which was really cool. We have 2 cons for this convention, which is why it's a 4. The load in was really bad. When we got there, it was hard to understand how we were supposed to get to the loading dock. The loading dock was either backed up or we gave up on the loading dock after seeing how bad it was in the loading dock to get to the floor. So we ended up just parking in the parking garage and taking our stuff on our carts through the convention center to get to the artist alley instead. We did not know where the artist alley was, so we had to figure out where to go. And then once we got to the artist alley, we found out we weren't exactly in the artist alley and we were with the vendors because we were in the fashion show, which was interesting. So I think we got 2 different badges as well. We got an artist alley badge and we got a vendor badge because they weren't sure which badge to give us. Second con was Saturday. We took an L. The fashion show was on Saturday. We did not know how involved we would be in the fashion show. And it actually took basically the entire day. So we had to be closed for all of the fashion show time in the vendors hall. So we didn't get to make any sales that day. We ended up doing well at this convention, but I feel like if we had another person there, we could have added more money overall if we were open on Saturday. Because the way TECO in 2023 worked is that there was a whole bunch of people buying on Friday and Saturday, and it really dramatically tapered off on Sunday. So we only got to make a little bit of money on Friday and a little bit of money on Sunday. So I feel like Saturday probably really hurt us.
Mm-hmm. Did you have any aspects of the fashion show that were your favorite?
My aspect, I guess, was just I really liked the fitting and everything and able to try on our clothing on actual models. When we signed up for this fashion show, we had to make new products. We couldn't have the things we already sold in this show. So I basically had to make new things to our models' measurements, which is not something that I normally do. I usually make clothing first and then we find the model or whoever wants to buy it later. So I felt the most accomplished once I made the clothing and then they tried it on, and for the most part it fit pretty well. It's a real major pat on the back for me as a fashion designer.
Yeah, their model process was also really nice. They had a portal on their website where we could go in and pick the pictures of the people, and we saw their measurements, and we were able to kind of map everybody out that we were interested in. So that was really nice. When we were going backstage to the front, it was really fun when they announced us because we had this dancey music and everyone in the crowd was dancing.
I think we got really good reaction too, which I was low-key surprised about. I feel like we did a good job, but it's just didn't expect the audience to go as crazy as they did.
Yeah, I feel like a celebrity. And then I feel like that event is what kind of boosted everybody figuring out who we were. Is now, along with regularly attending the same conventions, I feel like people know us from TECO.
Yeah, we got solidified into the J fashion community, I think, a little bit more. We were on the outskirts before then, and now I feel like we're a little bit more included because the people in the scene actually recognize us now.
Also, the area around was just so beautiful. We were able to take a couple of pictures with the models just like outside the fashion show, and the backdrop of the convention center and all the bridges was really pretty.
Oh yeah, the Pittsburgh Convention Center is beautiful. I think
Mhm.
that was one of the best convention centers we've been to too. I
Yeah.
don't think that any of the convention centers we've been to, for the most part, minus we'll get there.
Yeah.
We'll get there,
We'll
everyone.
get there.
But, they've been pretty good, but I think the Pittsburgh one overall was amazing because of the way it was built, but also how it like worked so well with the scenery around the convention center.
And then the drive there was nice. It wasn't too far from Chicago. One thing I can't forget is like when we were trying to get the rest of our stuff for the fashion show and closing up, because you had to run away on Friday to do fittings.
Yes.
I think it was before you left where we had our curtain up that signified that we were closed. Someone just like opened our curtain to ask us if we were open or something.
Yeah, they literally saw us standing there and they're just like, "Oh, I'm so sorry." And we're just looking like,
Get out of here.
what else are we doing right now?
Right.
Hope they weren't trying to like steal or anything.
Mm-hmm.
I'm guessing they were just trying to peek to see what we had, so maybe they could come back later. But like, still, we closed.
Yeah. Like,
In
are
the
you
block.
joking? Read the room. Read the room. I liked Teco as us being guest, but I did not enjoy Teco as a seller. But I think it's just because we were working it in a different way than usual. I think, and that's why I didn't put it on my list as best. But if we came back to Teco as guests, or if we came back to Teco just as vendors, then I think I'd be able to break it up in my brain. But we talked about this in the car of how everything works out in my head. But yeah, I hope we can come back. I think we got waitlisted this year, though. Maybe.
I don't think we got to apply.
I thought
Well,
we
I guess we
did.
did get to apply for the artist alley. For the vendor hall, I don't know what happened with that. I didn't hear anything back. We'll hopefully try to fight harder next year.
What's your average convention?
My average convention will be Anime Magic Inked. We did this convention in November of 2024. The convention is by Anime Magic, which is a convention that's been going for at least, I would say, like 3 to 4 years in Chicago at the Rosemont Convention Center. They recently opened up a new convention that is for mainly tattoo artists. So it was at the Hyatt in 2024. For that one, I would rank it a 3 out of 5. We overall did well. We were able to make back, I feel like, our average of sales, which was good. But the convention was a little disorganized. We had check-in problems. We came, like, I feel like either on time or a little bit later than on time, and nothing was ready. The rooms weren't prepared. We didn't know where we needed to go to set up. Nothing much. So we finally had to like hunt down the organizer, which is also the organizer of Anime Magic. So I was really like shocked that things weren't where they were supposed to be yet. And they told us what we needed to do, so we came down. And the location choice was also not the best. I don't know if because this was a newer convention that they just started, that they couldn't get the spot at the Rosemont Convention Center, but I would have preferred it there than the Hyatt. The way they had it set up at the Hyatt was not great for a tattoo convention, but also not great for a convention in general, because they had to spread out the artist for the artist alley and the vendor hall. All the rooms were separated. So in total, I think there was like 4 or 5 different rooms you had to go through to get to everything. So some of the rooms, I feel like not a lot of people got to. And a lot of people didn't do really well because of where they were located. Luckily, we happened to be in one of the first rooms when you get to the artist alley, and we were in the middle of the room, so you could see us straight from the door, which was really nice. And I think might have contributed to our sales because we were first and we were visible.
Oh yeah, you were in like a room, and you went with one of our mutual friends, and it was like a little door. And weren't you like in the center of that room, and you were the only one? Like you guys kind of moved yourselves around or set yourself up in there?
We sat ourselves where we were supposed to be on the map. We figured it out, but it was just like We were the one of the only booths that were like pink, and we had a large setup because we normally have a large setup. So we were like the largest pink booth in the middle of the room from the door. So you were able to see us. You came in through the hallway, from the hallway. So if you were like, "Ooh, what's this?" you would immediately come in and see us. Which I think worked in our favor. So I'm very glad that the layout was the way it was. But I feel like it's best to try to have all the artists in one room. So everyone gets a chance to make their little money. And then another thing about the layout is all the artist alley and vendors were separated, but also the artists for the tattooing was also separated. So the tattoo artists were upstairs in the entrance to the hotel. So if you wanted to come in and only get a tattoo, you could. So I don't even know if all the people who came to get tattoos knew we were downstairs or not. I don't believe there was too many signs to like point to the tattoo artist in the artist alley. I think it was just like a place, arrow pointing to registration only. So I don't know if they got like a booklet or anything. I didn't see anything for a booklet, so I don't know if there's like a website or an app or something that they knew who we were. But that was another critique that I thought about, because it's just like, I don't know if I would have known that people were downstairs if I was just here to get a tattoo and I'm like, "Hey, where's the tattoo artist?" And that was it.
Usually they put them next to each other because that's kind of where the sales come from. I have my own thoughts about how tattoo conventions have been going. I'll save that for the end because we have another one to talk about.
Crowd size could have been better as well. It seemed like definitely not as many people as there is at Anime Magic, and Anime Magic is still like a smaller convention compared to the larger ones that they have at the Rosemont Convention Center. So I'm not sure if it was just like a time of year. Maybe not as many people were willing to come out because it was November, close to Christmas time. So maybe people were saving their money for holiday shopping. I'm not really sure. The crowd was definitely to be desired. I think we got the most traffic still on Saturday, but there was a lot of time that we sat just like sitting around.
Wasn't it like a couple months after Anime Magic?
Yes, Anime Magic is in August, and Anime Magic Inked was in November. I guess the turnaround time could also be an issue, because if you threw your money out in August at Anime Magic, I don't know if I'd be able to turn around and be ready for a tattoo and to shop. I guess in November. It was probably like one or the other, so maybe that was an issue we ran into as well. Jordan did not attend Anime Magic Inked. I was on my own with my husband and my friend, so I was flying basically solo a little bit.
Flying solo. Do you think if it was in the normal convention center that Anime Magic was in, would it have been more successful?
I would like to say yes, but I'm not sure whether this is a people issue or a location issue, because I think people would have been able to get a better chance of making sales if we weren't separated completely from the tattoo artist, and also if we weren't separated from each other. Because I'm one of those people that would probably go through every room before I make a decision, but that doesn't mean that everyone else is like that.
And if they didn't have any maps or anything, people may have not even known that there was more people there.
Yeah, that's my concern as well. Because, like, sometimes people be just going and seeing what they want and buying it and just not thinking about it anymore. And then they get to the third or fourth room and they're like, "Oh, I would have bought this if I would have known that y'all were here," or something like that. So I'm sure people were running into that too. People were tearing down their booths at the end of Saturday, and we still have a full Sunday. It was bad.
Dang. Okay.
Yeah.
That's real bad.
Some people really didn't make any money.
Dang. That's kind of how it was at one of the ones on my list. Because every time they separate the artists, it just doesn't go well.
Yeah. So that's my deal. I think Rosemont Convention Center was the way to go. Even if they were able to get even a smaller area or something. So all the tattoo artists, all the artist alley, and all the vendors could be in one space. We're going to try to possibly get back in this year. I overall think that we did a good enough job to go back. So we'll see how the cookie crumbles. I'm really hoping that they had feedback. They had a feedback application on their website. So I really hope people actually like put in feedback, and maybe things will be different this year.
Hey guys, so our worst is kind of collectively worse. And the only reason that I put a bad or worse in my list is just because this was a solo con that Ani didn't get to go to. And I did want to talk about it, but I think we're going to save the absolute worst for last. And I'll go ahead and go through my, honestly, best into average.
What were your best and average conventions, Joe?
So, my best convention, and this is coming from a seller, we didn't do anything extra, like no panels or anything, was Anime Konbini Mart. We did that in 2023. Was it August?
It was July.
July. It was right after Techo. Or was it before Techo?
Before Techo.
Before Techo. That's why Ani's here. I don't know when we went to anything.
I am the memory of this group.
Uh-huh. I'm here. I'm the personality hire. That's all I got.
Anime Konbini Mart was just a market. It was an anime market, so it wasn't an actual convention, but you could just come and spend your money. It was located in St. Louis, Missouri at the St. Charles Convention Center.
I did not get any of that in my brain. I just know my number one is there. So Anime Konbini Mart was amazing. I don't think I have any like complaints. The parking, free. I'll start us off. Free parking. Easy load in, easy check in, easy check out, literally no sweat. The con head, I believe, or maybe head staff, I never know who these people are. His name was Jeremy. Jeremy, if you watch this, shout out to you. You are invited to my wedding. I will name you after my firstborn. He was probably the most attentive staff, probably comparable to the convention I just went to solo. Probably like the most attentive staff member we've ever had. Like every 5 seconds, he was checking on us. When we checked in, he was just like, you know what? If you have any questions, let me know. I'm literally floating around here. So yeah, he's like basically Jesus. The next thing was like, it was just a large open space. It was great. We had plenty of room in the aisles. Our elbows were not in our neighbor's plate. All the artists could get in and out of their tables. I don't even think we had a back. Like it was just us. There was no one behind us that we had to worry about. There was music, but it wasn't too loud because a lot of conventions have started playing music over the years, and they will crank that thing up to the point that I can't even hear Anita next to me. And some of these songs are raunchy, and we can't have them in our vlog. Like that one convention, what were they playing? But you were dancing to it. I have a video of just you like dancing with a shocked face because you're like, I can't believe they played this at 9 a.m. on a Saturday. Oh, there were food vendors and artists, and the food vendors had delicious food, so we were never hungry. And the artists were super diverse. I did not see a bunch of Temu sellers. I did not see a bunch of AI art, even though I think this was before AI kind of like tried to take over. The floor, I don't know if anyone else thinks about this, but sometimes when I step into convention halls, the floor makes me want to die. The concrete floor is really ugly. I don't like how it feels. Even though I have shoes on, I can't explain it, but anyone else who's a sensory girly, if you come here, it was like soft hardwood floors. I can't explain it to you. The temperature was perfect. It was a little dark, but it wasn't like dark in a bad way. It just wasn't blinding fluorescent lights like I am a fish in a dentist's office. That's how I feel at a lot of these conventions. It's like I'm just Nemo at that dentist's office waiting to be shaken up in a bag.
I can't. Dark in like a moody way.
Yeah, it was like perfect, like a banquet hall lighting. I think that was the first convention we got a trash can at, right?
Yes, we did get a trash can.
Mm-hmm. That changed us. Since then, we've been spoiled, and if no one has a trash can, then they're like subpar. The crowd was great. They were buying our stuff like it was hotcakes, and everybody came to purchase because it was a market. And there really wasn't even a ton of downtime, I think. We were pretty much working 9 to 5 and then getting some food. Not just Jeremy, but the rest of the staff, great. Always there. I feel like if I tripped, they would catch me. That's how attentive they were. There was boba. There was literally a boba vendor and a crepe vendor. We was kangs, is in our notes. we were eating like, I don't know, it was Thanksgiving.
The crepes were handmade. They were literally making them in the back of the stall. Mm-hmm. So you can smell it throughout the convention center. Glorious.
Fresh. And then I lost my water bottle, and they saved it for me, and we were able to get my water bottle back. I don't really use that water bottle anymore, but I really appreciate it.
We were 100% thinking that they threw away the water bottle. because we didn't even find out that you lost the water bottle until we were already on the road back to Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
So we were like frantically called the convention center just to see, just in case, and they saved it.
I couldn't ask for a better convention, genuinely. And if they've downgraded since 2023, you didn't hear this from me.
I also liked Anime Conveni Marts, but I just really love the vibe of Techo more, so that's why I chose my own. I love going to markets now because I like how there is just influx of people all the time. Obviously, if they are managed correctly, the people show up. Wink, wink. But we were just working nonstop, and people were just constantly coming in and coming out, and we didn't really have any downtime because people didn't have to like wait around to wait for events or anything to start. They're just like moving throughout the market and then just going home.
A1 convention.
Yeah.
I want to kiss him on his forehead. It was so good.
Oh my gosh.
For average, I never mean average as a bad thing. But they were literally just run-of-the-mill anime convention. Nothing crazy, but also nothing necessarily bad happened. So for me, it's Anime Magic. It's basically like our job every year, unless they like see this video and don't let us back in. But literally, I don't mean it as a bad thing, but it's just like if I go to this convention or I vend at this artist alley, it didn't stick out for me like Techo or Anime Conveni Mart, but it also wasn't a garbage fire like all the other ones we've been.
Pew 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 pew.
We're never getting invited again. I put it at a 3, right in the middle. I like know what to expect every year. I know how load-in's going to be. Nothing's ever changed. And that is not necessarily a bad thing as somebody who hates change. First of all, shout out to Boat Guy. You know who you are. He is there every year with this big boat. I brought him up at the convention I just went to. I figured out that the other artist that we got a hotel room with also was at Anime Magic purely because of Boat Guy. Because I was like, there's this one guy.
Amazing.
I know. And I was like, it's a small world. And apparently she also was a Midwesterner who came to North Carolina. And I was like, crazy. He's literally there every year. We found his social media. And that's his whole personality, is that like one 90s anime with a boat. And he just walks around with that giant speaker. And he just does the thing. I just want to know how he gets there. That's my only question. The biggest thing I cannot stand about Anime Magic. Did they do this for ASIN, the staples on the table?
Yes.
Okay. Both of that whole convention center can get it because I hate those staples. Every year they stab our tablecloth. They like staple all our tables together with this tablecloth thing that they just roll over 100 tables. And it just causes a lot of problems with all the artists, and we always cut it. Like every single time. I'm like, at this point, just don't even put the tablecloth down. We're going to cut it up anyway. But yeah, they always staple our tables with this plastic tablecloth, and all the staples from all the events that that convention center has ever done are like just sticking out, and you will get stabbed. Another thing that I don't like love, but I don't hate either, is just like the loading dock that the convention center has. I can't change it, but it's just this steep slope that we have to drive up from a main road, and you've got to cut the corner and cross the street because it's not, well, I guess it depends on how you're coming to the convention center, but from the highway you always have to cross this busy road and then go up like a 4-grade hill, if that's how grading works. I don't know, I'm not a truck driver. And then if you can't get your car on the convention floor, you have to like park laying to the side, and every time we try and unload, our cart's trying to roll away into the street. And it's awful. And if you get to get your car inside, they're rushing you to get off the floor. Like the second I open the door, somebody on a microphone is like, get your car off the floor. I'm like, bro, I just opened my door. I just got here. But it's whatever. Like I know all the other artists have to come in and it's not a big loading dock. Another thing I hate, the big pillars. They're just like, well, everybody has to do the pillar at least once. And I feel like they could just tighten it a little just to get around that pillar. Also, we don't know who the staff is. I don't know if we just got there too early, but I feel like they never wore a staff shirt. Not in like any defining outfits as a staffer or badge. And I feel like one guy was just in a Hawaiian shirt.
Oh no. Yeah, I think there's definitely staff at Anime Magic, but I would not know who they are. I don't think they wear staff shirts.
And I just remember when we were trying to load in and figure out where a table was because the numbers were off. I was trying to figure out who Carl was. And then Carl was Richard, but Richard wasn't Carl, you know? Maybe I think Richard rage quit. I'm not even sure. But yeah, I say all that to say the aisles, they were gigantic. So it was also great because we never had any issues driving the cars or putting all our stuff in, or any of the attendees trying to get to our table. It was always nice. The food was overpriced. I don't know who sets the prices, but your nuggets are not that good.
I think I spent like $7 on one taco.
Because it's not like you can just leave and go get food. There's nothing around the convention center except for an airport and hotels.
There's a Starbucks, but it's such a long way from the artist alley.
And I'm like, $7 taco, that's lukewarm, or $13 boiled egg from Starbucks.
That you have to wait 2 hours for.
Yeah,
Always long.
it was.
They're always screaming everyone's drink, and suddenly after they order, they just like forget their drink order or something. So I think it takes even longer because they're just like, Susie, frap, Susie, frap, and someone's just like, is that for Jim? And you're like, Susie.
Or when they use their cosplay names, they're like, Megatron, Venti cold brew with cold foam, and there's like 18 Megatrons.
Yeah, and then someone's like, I ordered a hot chocolate, and it's like, it's not you.
The other Megatron. It's okay. I'm also toxic and I do that. So the last time I attended a convention as a cosplayer, I think I was either Grell when I last did this. This was high school. Don't judge me. No shade to Grell cosplayers. Black Butler, though, it needs to be discussed. So that's all I'm going to say about that.
Well, maybe
yeah.
do some offshoots later on. Maybe we'll do some our unhinged anime takes.
Ooh, we could do Hear Me Out. It's like, hear me out. That one rock and that one anime. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh yeah, the food is overpriced. And there's not enough options. I promise we do like this convention though. I think I've just been ragging on it this entire list.
Yeah, I like Anime Magic. I feel like it's our like local most steady convention. So we got in again for 2025. So we are looking forward to it. Joe just has a lot of thoughts.
I do. I always have a lot of thoughts, even if I shouldn't. But I don't know. When you come from Anime Konbini Mart and you get kissed on your forehead by God himself, it's just hard to just, have to run after Carl and or Richard. But yeah, on the bright side of this convention, it's local. We typically make back and profit. We don't have to pay for a hotel. Do we have to pay for parking?
Yes.
Okay,
I
we have to pay for
$15 though.
Yeah, we get it's discounted rate, so that's good. My last rag on this convention needed it. I promise I'm not a hater. I'm just incredibly opinionated. The tunnel of hell that we have to walk through to get to the convention center, and then when it's July in Chicago, whew, it is so hot in there. And y'all need to wear deodorant.
That's fair, yeah.
Y'all need to put a little speed stick. It's $1 at Dollar Tree. Well, it's $1.25 tree. Little speed stick.
If you don't wear deodorant, the journey from the car to the artist alley will break you.
It will.
There's no air conditioner on until you get to the convention center.
It's so hot in there. They're not gonna like me after this. Sorry to have our shop and or podcast canceled by the end of the second episode.
Oh my god.
I really do enjoy Anime Magic. It's nice to have friends that we'll run into and be in a local area and not have to worry about all the other things that come with traveling long distances for conventions. And the crowd is always good. It comes in waves and it's always good. And they have tattoo artists. We've made a couple of friends on the road from the tattoo artists that attend. So we always get a good mix of artists and vendors, and it's just a good time. There's just, you go to a place for so many years, like you go home and you're like, God dang it, that refrigerator is still hollering and I still haven't changed the battery in my smoke alarm, but it is home.
We also get a lot of returning customers, so shout out to the people who see us at Anime Magic and always buy something new. Appreciate you.
Right, we'll try to always keep it pushing with the new products. I feel like Anime Magic is our showcase one, where we test everything out because we come so often.
True.
Hope they're excited for the next sweatshirt. It's coming eventually.
It's cooking.
I ate chicken nuggets this morning. I'm cutting up today.
I can't. All right, Joe. And now, last but not least, we will be talking about our worst conventions that we've gone to. Some are worse than others, so we will start with our least worst right now. Pop Cult Con is a pop culture / anime tattoo convention, and it was in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Charlotte, North Carolina, the Queen City.
And we did this convention recently in 2025. What is your rating?
My rating for the Queen is a 2.1. You know, I say this and then I told you that we should go back. So if they watch this, we're probably not getting back in. But yeah, Pop Cult was all right. Check-in, it was as okay as it could be. I did get a rock in my window, so that may have helped me being angry about this. And I park, and I go in, and I'm just like, hey, where do I go? And they're like, over there. And then a guy comes around the corner. He's like, I can show you. I get my little packet. I get one badge. I was expecting two. They showed me the table. We were at the very end by the doors, which was nice. We were right next to the bathrooms, right next to the security people. And they were really nice. They shipped me and Greg and said we were really cute. Now I got to go back and tell them, I'm like, well, we're engaged now. But yeah, the tables were okay. You know, we were on the walls. There was no one behind me, and there was no one really next to me. We were spaced out pretty good. I wasn't rushed for load-in. The layout was okay. It wasn't great. They had the vendors separated around the tattoo artist, and then they had the people who paid more that got the best foot traffic, which I was kind of like, I guess. I think if we were in the center or maybe by the food court, I feel like we would have done better, but we were also at the front. So I think that helped us. The people there held their purse like they were clutching their pearls. They were not trying to spend a dime. They literally just found out about this event on the whim and probably didn't plan on purchasing anything really, and we're probably just gonna walk around with their cosplay on and just kind of explore. Because me too, if I found out about an event at the last minute, I'm not opening my wallet.
Trying to show up and be seen.
I just want them to look at me, and I might get a $5 tattoo. So like, I don't blame. They probably found out about this randomly, and usually people pre-plan and budget for conventions, and if you don't have a budget, then no one's gonna buy a $35 shirt. Well, I think we sold 2 shirts, and they were both to the tattoo artist, and the tattoo artist knew about the event preemptively, so they were going to spend their money. The music was the worst music I've ever heard in my entire life. The DJ, if you're listening, you're fired. Don't ever play that emo remix in front of me ever again. I swear to God. I wish I could find it online. I wish I had a video of it. It was the worst thing I've ever heard in my life. I was an emo kid. I was up in there. It was awful. And it was like blended together by a cover band. Terrible. Gerard Way didn't die on the cross for this.
Was it like emo cover music?
It was an emo cover montage mashup. So it was like blending I'm Not Okay with Paramore with Knives and Pins, all sung by the same guy who was a little too happy to be singing emo music. In my opinion.
We really ain't getting sued.
Right. It was basically if Mickey Mouse sung emo covers and made his own remix.
Oh.
That's what it felt like. Nobody liked it. Gregory put my headphones on. And he hates everything, so it was really bad already. Dang. Both of us are hateful. It was just really bad, and it was cranked. Like, it felt like I was at a rave. And then we were at the stage area, so we were right next to the speakers, and I was just like, being dead might be easier than this. On top of like the people not wanting to shop, and then I felt like I was on Artist Island. I was not having fun. The date changed because the tickets used to be on sale. I just remembered. I think they were $60 for the weekend, and they probably had a bunch of panels and stuff planned out. And then they changed the date and had to just grab what they could and made the event free. And then the artists were the insurance policy.
They changed the date and didn't say anything. They emailed us because we found out about this convention in I think the middle of 2024. So we just applied and just forgot about it, honestly. And then we got a random message and was like, hey, so we need to move the dates. Are you guys still okay vending? And we hadn't like paid for lodging or anything yet. So we were like, yeah, I mean, we could just switch things around. So I guess it's fine. Yeah, but they didn't ever make a formal like Instagram or Facebook or website post or anything, to my knowledge, to the actual attendees that they changed things. They kind of just switched out the dates on their website and Instagram, but didn't actually like draw any attention to it. So that was suspicious to me, and also probably one of the reasons why the con didn't do as well as previously thought.
Yeah, there were portions of the day where there was no one there, and Greg was like, can we just leave? I kept having to explain to him, I was like, we can't just leave. Somebody might buy a $3 button, Greg. They might. even with all of that, their marketing was great. Like they had billboards around North Carolina. I saw them with flyers at some places. The Instagram was popping. They had a logo. It was all like, together. It just, I mean, that's probably how they got the people in. And they kept saying like, hey guys, share it with your friends. Come to this event. Probably because no one really like pre-registered that they were coming. And I think they literally had their fingers crossed. I will say I love vending at tattoo conventions, but the hours are awful. It is so long. We got there 1 to 7 the first day, and then 10 to 8 the next day, and then 10 to 7 on Sunday. And I'm like, I gotta go home. We did find out that there was a cafeteria in there, I think, on Saturday. They were kind of tucked away and hidden behind a wall, so I genuinely did not see them. We packed up a little early. I think if they would have just put all the artists together, they could have just had a security guy there and we could have gone home at 5. I don't think there's any reason for artists to stay as long as tattoo artists, because nobody, by the time like, I don't know, 6 o'clock rolls around, no one's really shopping anymore. I think I was texting you and I'm like, Anita, I'm wrapping it up. It's 6. Ain't nobody here.
Yeah, I remember that.
Because I know it ended at 9 one day, actually. And I was like, I ain't staying here until 9. That's not happening. Ain't nobody else going to be here either. The only people that are going to be there at 9 are going to be the people who got tattooed. And they also had their tattoo like showcase every day at the last 2 hours. And that was so loud. It was like, they were all screaming and cheering into the microphone. And it was just like blaring through. And you could see everybody else wincing at the sound. The guy who was on speakers needs to be fired. But yeah, the event was just like really long, and with that plus being hungry, plus being there really early, plus it being loud and cold, then it was hot. Then nobody was there. We packed it up. We did make table back. We probably 3 people in there. I'm not sure about the vendors in the middle or the tattoo artists. I think the tattoo artists did fairly well because it was basically like a walk-in tattoo day. But a lot of the artists did not make their table back. And we made friends with someone next to us and they were just like, yeah, this sucks. Went down the whole row and around the whole center for Artist Alley. And I was like, hey guys, how's it going? And they're like, how is it going?
Dang.
Yeah, it was bad. The food also wasn't good. Cook guy hit on me, and this other guy hit on me, and the security guard hit on me. And I was like, I'm ready to go. And then Greg was literally standing right there. He was like, I assume you're the boyfriend? And he was like, yeah. And then he continued.
Oh no!
And then Greg was like, this is so funny. And I'm like, stand up for me, Greg.
Honestly. Throw the first punch.
I know. The bright side was we filmed a lot of funny videos, and one of them went a little viral because they were like, justice for Greg. It's okay. The secret sauce is just a little twink at the table.
I can't.
The other thing that I'm gonna die on this hill about is paying for parking when you're working the event. I don't think we should have to pay for parking when they're gonna have like thousands of people coming. I think we should just get free parking when we already pay like what, $200 and up to be here for the weekend, and then you're gonna put parking on top of that. I just think that's petty. But parking was $15, it wasn't too much, but on top of everything else, I was just already at my limit. But yeah, that was pop cult. That's what you missed, Anita.
Doesn't sound like much. I'm very glad that I decided to save our money and not buy a plane ticket to come to this.
Yeah, our pros is that we can proxy for ourselves and we don't have to pay people. But the cons, man, the cons be conning.
They do. Our worst convention out of all of our conventions that we've done is unfortunately Otaku Fest 2023. It was in Miami, Florida. We went in January of 2023, and our goals were so high. We were so bright and bushy-tailed, and it really just crashed and burned very quickly.
Yeah, I don't think they were ready to be Otaku Fest, to be honest.
If this couldn't get any worse, was a person, I feel like it'd be Otaku Fest, because it was just bad after bad after bad.
And it like started off bad. We couldn't even like get to the convention for things to sour. Like, I'm gonna go ahead and go into the list, but the FAA grounded all flights that day.
Yes, it started off at the beginning of the day. I was at the O'Hare Airport in Chicago, and I had I want to say like a 6 a.m. flight. So I was up early and I was ready to get on that plane. Joe is in North Carolina, if we didn't already state this, and I live in Chicago. So our plan was to have me get on the plane and go to North Carolina, and we would both drive down together to Miami from North Carolina, which was already quite a drive, but we didn't really understand that at the time. I was waiting at the airport, ready to get on the plane, and my flight got delayed. And it was only like 30 minutes or so, so I was like, oh, okay, well, 30 minutes is 30 minutes. I'm already here. It's whatever. And then it just kept getting later and later. Then we got like this announcement, and it was just like, hey, so all of the planes have been grounded around the US because our systems went down. Like all the planes everywhere, system went down or something, so nobody was leaving. So I had to sit in the airport for an additional like 2 hours, I think. So I didn't end up getting on the plane until I think 10 or 11.
I don't even know. I just know we were so far off
I
schedule.
was supposed to be in North Carolina, I think by like 9 or 10. And I'd end up getting on the plane until 9 or 10.
Yeah.
So we were already behind. And then we had a helper that was coming with us since our trip was so far away. And their plane was also delayed because they are also from Chicago as well. So we had to come back to pick them up later. And they lost their luggage.
Yes. And it got rerouted to Charlotte or something. I don't know what happened. I just remember it was like 2 different airports.
Yeah, so we were delayed already from the flights, but I think we were extra delayed another like 2 hours or so. We had to come back to get our helper and figure out what happened to their luggage.
Yeah, and there was like an hour between you and the helper's flight that wasn't there before. And then there was traffic at the airport because everybody was scrambling because all the flights were grounded. We had planned to leave at the crack of dawn, a 12-hour drive to Florida. That just became like a 24-hour drive to Florida.
Otaku Fest started out strong. Their marketing team, amazing.
It
The
was
art
really
for
pretty.
the badges, fantastic.
I think honestly one of the best ones we've seen badge-wise. Their art was just like crisp. This one was plastic badge, laminated lanyard branding, standee branding. Social media team was working overtime. They had ads in the airports. They had billboards. I feel like I saw them like in the corners of websites and stuff. Like they were paying for these ads.
Ads on ads on ads. The follower count on their Instagram was really good too. And then I think our table wasn't even that much either. So we had high hopes.
It wasn't, and it was like a first come first serve, pay for your booth table.
Yeah.
It wasn't. Nothing was jurred, which will come in handy later.
Because of all the stuff that happened with the flights and our helper and all that kind of stuff, we still had to get our prep done for the convention. And we didn't end up getting on the road until like 10 p.m. And we were supposed to be getting on the road at like 11 a.m.
A.M.
We drove through the night, and it's only 2 of us that could drive. And then I got so tired that I could no longer see. So Jordan had to drive the majority of the way because my eyes like literally quit. Like I wear glasses already, and my eyesight was kind of how it would be if I didn't have my glasses on.
That's crazy.
With my glasses on. So it was crazy. I thought I was going blind. Like I was having a time.
Yeah, we were like really concerned. Me and Bun Bun were in the car and we were like, are you dying? Like we were like whispering because you were like rubbing at your eyes. And I was like, are we gonna need to go to urgent care? Like I was kind of trying to look on the map and see what's close by. Because we started off driving. It was like, I think we got out of North Carolina and then your eyes were like, good night.
Yeah.
And we were already somewhere we didn't even know where we were. It was like...
It was insane. I think we had to end up changing, like, on the highway.
We did that twice.
A little stop. And I was like, my eyes are quitting.
Like, I can't see. Help me.
So, keep that worry in your back pocket. If you get so tired, there is a possibility that your eyes can just quit.
because I had to Google that. Because I was like, "What's going on?" And they're like, "Yeah, if you're too tired, your eyes will stop working." And I was like, "Wow."
I just remember that the sun was rising, and me and Bun Bun just looked at each other and looked at the map, and it was still like 4 or 5 hours left to drive. We were in Florida at this point. Ironically, the easiest thing about the convention was the check-in.
We pulled up at the convention center, and we were told we'd get a discounted pass or something
Mm-hmm.
on the website. We go up to the place where the parking attendant is, and they had no idea what we were talking about.
I just remembered it's flooding back.
Yeah, and they were like, "No, parking's $60," and we're like, $60? They
60
told us
American
parking
dollars?
would be like 30 or something like that. It was like
Or
half.
free.
The lady had no idea what we were talking about, so we had to pay either double the cost or $60. $60 is a lot for parking.
Mm-hmm. For 3 days.
For 3 days, yeah. So you were trying to figure out the parking situation. We just went ahead into the convention center so we could get the badges, me and Bun Bun.
Mm-hmm. We were already late.
We were already late. Yes, we were 2 hours late. So that's why we're trying to hustle in, because it usually takes us a while to set up. So we walked in the convention center. Everything was labeled and marked where we needed to go. So that was great for load in. So we went there. We had a little bit of a hiccup. They couldn't find us at first. So it took a little bit of time. But then they were able to get us the badges, so it was fine. But I was like,
We drove all this way.
Mm-hmm. But they gave us the badges, so it was all good. Next on the list was the layout. The layout was bad, but also unknown.
Yeah, nobody knew what was happening at this convention. So I'm pretty sure it was because the FAA grounding and everything that they were also delayed when we got there. But it was like a madhouse.
Artist Alley was completely unorganized. Nothing was ready to go. We didn't have tables. We didn't have chairs. We didn't have tablecloths. There was no signage up or anything. We had to move the table like twice. They moved us twice when we had already started setting up. And the Artist Alley organizer was super mean.
Yeah.
She was rude to the convention center staff.
And we like walked in, started setting up, and we just hear commotion in the back. And she's just like hollering at the convention staff. And they were trying to do their best. And she kept walking around the banquet hall and screaming at them and telling people, not there, not there. And I'm just like, ma'am, maybe you should have drawn a map.
The map was super duper vague
Mm-hmm.
to follow, and they didn't like do any updated map or anything, because I think where we ended up being was not where we were on the map.
Not
So
at
they
all.
were even changing the map while we were already there.
Oh, it was so bad. I'm just reliving these thoughts. Speaking of unorganized, unknowing, and all changing map, the banquet hall was also dark. It was like low lighting for a wedding, kind of dark. And they had to bring in these big, I guess, bonus lights that they put every couple of artists. And it just felt like a lizard lamp. It wasn't actually helping, I don't think.
Didn't you say something about the cords were crazy?
Oh, that too. Because of all the lamps they had to bring in, there were just thousands of cords all over the floor. I personally don't think they were contained that well because it was a tripping hazard. And they were all behind our booth. They were all on the floor. It was a mess. Fire safety, 0 out of 10.
Yes. Good news. They were overbooked for the attendees. Bad news is they were overbooked for the attendees.
Mm-hmm.
It was so many people. I'm pretty sure they could have got a fire code violation.
Mm-hmm.
People were literally like arm to arm, shoulder to shoulder. It was to the point that we had to reconsider whether or not we really needed to go to the bathroom or get water or get food, because the back of the Artist Alley area was like our only space to like breathe.
And I feel like people were trying to cross through there. And I think the people at the very front kept saying, no, this is not a walking area. But I think people were trying to come back here because it was just so packed. Speaking of it being overbooked, there was like either not enough water fountains, because you know how some conventions have those water stalls. We're there all day, got to keep them hydrated. But I don't know where these water fountains were. And then all the water places that were there were empty.
They sold out of water bottles in the food stalls at one point.
And we're in Miami. It's hot year round. So yeah, it was not a good time. People were going to die in there, I swear. The crowd that was there was a fairly tough crowd, but we made our sales back purely because there were so many people at this convention that we would eventually find people that wanted to buy our stuff.
The panels were poorly planned. There was not enough space, so if you didn't get to the panel on time, you could not get into the room. Also, some of the panels were canceled, and no one said that they were canceled. I went to at least I think 1 or 2 panels that were not happening, and there was no update to say that they weren't happening.
Yeah, there's no kind of app or anything for this convention, and people were relying on an outdated paper schedule. And they didn't put any messages out on there saying, hey, check here to make sure your panel's still going, or something like that. And then because so many panels were canceled, I feel like that's why there was an influx of people in the halls. There was nowhere to sit. People were sitting on top of each other. They were sitting on the floors and the hallways. And then the hallways were these itty bitty little narrow hallways made for an office building or something. This was probably the worst convention center in the world. And then on top of that, there being no water, nowhere for people to sit. The upstairs was also hot. I don't know if it was just the sheer amount of people upstairs, or if did the AC go out or something? I can't remember.
I don't know if the AC went out or the AC wasn't on, or there were so many people to the point that the AC just wasn't doing its job.
Mm-hmm. It was I was sweating, and we had on short sleeve shirts and stuff. Oh my God, I just found another thing. So speaking of the poorly planned out artist alley layout, apparently there was a second artist alley. I don't know if they had to get moved or if they just didn't know where to put us, but you had to basically leave the building to go to the other side to find the other artist. And there was probably 10 people in there that probably made no money because no one knew they were there. They weren't even connected to the main hall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. Where they were located, because I was gonna say that maybe they were with the vendors, but I think vendors were in there too.
Yeah, we were all
that huge area that also had vendors.
Mm-hmm.
The artist alley where we were, and the corner artist alley where nobody knew what was going on there.
Yeah, they were out in Texas or something, down the block. You had to literally go outside to find them.
Yeah. We're going to talk a little bit about how the convention center was set up. So the convention center in Miami that this con was at is also connected to a tiny strip mall.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the convention center. You walk out into the strip mall and then you turn, and the artist alley was there. But I just didn't understand what stopped people who were just shopping at the mall from just going directly into the artist alley.
Oh yeah, I didn't think about that.
And it wasn't marked or anything. You just came in and saw people selling stuff. So now just was this part of the convention at all? Was this just a random place where people were selling stuff? I'm so confused now. I didn't even think about that.
So you have to leave the main hall, walk all the way down through these several outdoor corridors, go into the mall, go into 2 other sets of doors, and then you'll finally reach the hall that the other artists were in.
Dang.
I'm looking at the video again. It started raining at one point too, because it's Florida. It's a moisture bowl.
Was there staff? Yes. Was there a lot of staff? Yes. Did they understand what was happening? No. No one knew what was going on.
I don't remember knowing where the staff was. I don't remember seeing them. Were they marked?
The staff for the convention center, they had a lot of those staff. There wasn't a lot of con staff, but the convention center staff were in black and white or whatever.
Oh yeah, they look like ushers.
Yeah, so you could see them and talk to them. But any question that we had, there was several different people giving different answers to the same questions.
Yeah, nothing was consistent. There was no trash cans. I also remember it being kind of dirty.
Yeah, because there was a lack of trash cans. I don't think people knew where to put their trash. Mm-hmm. So they maybe ended up dropping it, probably getting it knocked out of the hand because they have anywhere.
Really?
There was nowhere to literally live and be a human.
This was literally the Fyre Fest of conventions.
Basically, yeah.
Ooh. And then because of how many people were there and no one in that building knew they were coming, the restaurant that was local to the area or connected to the convention was overwhelmed.
All the restaurants in the area were overwhelmed. The ones that were in the convention center and the ones that were next to the hotel. So there was also a hotel near the convention center.
and their restaurant was also bad. We tried to get food there the next day. The first day, we tried to get food at the convention center, and it was bad and expensive. I got a cold hamburger with chips for $15.
Lovely.
And it was dry.
Oh my
So
God.
day number 2, we tried to go to this Mediterranean spot that was near the hotel, and it was packed to the brim. So we tried to order online to see if we could get quicker, and it just spiraled out of control. Me
Mhm.
and our helper Bun Bun ended up waiting for food for like 4 hours. Didn't want to leave because we like didn't know where else we'd be able to get food, and we were already in line, and we were just like, oh my God. And it was so many people in there, and
Mhm.
everyone was screaming, and they were arguing with the people who worked there, and the people who worked there were just acting like it was another day on the job, which was really crazy to experience. Nobody knew that the convention was happening. So people who just regularly, this is their spot to come order food, showing up and seeing all these people, and they're just like, where's my order? And then the people in the back just like shrug their shoulders, and they're just like, it is what it is. And they're just literally just like cussing them out. Last day, we just ended up ordering Panda Express, and it came, and it was good. And we all moved on. Oh, also, the Wi-Fi went out.
Yes.
So the Wi-Fi was basically useless. We struggled to make our sales on our Square reader, so we had to like start paying out in cash or whatever. Luckily, we had cash, but like that
Right.
was a problem too. So we had to fight to get our Panda Express order. I think I had to go outside to order it. I had to write down everyone's order and then go outside.
Some of the orders that we took by card, we were just hoping that they went through, because we did offline transactions for a little bit. If you got off the Wi-Fi and just used your data, it wasn't working.
Yeah, it was jammed on both ends. So, honorable mention for the game room.
Stanky.
The game room was so small, and it was like smelly.
Oh God. It basically was just this white room with a couple of computers, right?
Yeah, there wasn't even really any like consoles like that. It was just like mostly like computer games. No Dance Dance Revolution. No Just Dance.
No nothing.
For the booth, you had to like pay for your table, and there was no jury and no artist curation like at all. So we happened to have our booth sat in a sea of hentai. And we are like a cutesy, like kawaii booth for the most part. We have like a little bit of an edge, but like not enough to be sitting in the middle of a sea of hentai.
Yeah, a lot of our audience is like J fashion people or kids. Like babies who want to wear little rings and bows.
Yeah.
And
so the parents were like trying to keep them away from our table because we were surrounded by hentai.
And it wasn't even censored. A lot of conventions have censor rules.
Yeah,
They just had them things hang out.
Yeah.
My eyes will never feel clean.
I was so drained from the convention, I had to go home to our hotel and take a nap. So Jordan and our helper Bun Bun went out to explore the rave.
Didn't Tall Bun Bun and Bun Bun come with me to the rave?
Yes.
Me, Tall Bun Bun, and Bun Bun all were like, okay, let's go to the rave. Let's blow off some steam. It's going to be so fun. I haven't been to a rave in so long. We left immediately. I think you had Ubered back, right?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Yeah. So we had the car. We went to the rave, and it was, first of all, on the second floor. Who puts a rave on the second floor? You gotta jump at a rave. Like it's your God-given right to jump and bump. And they were jumping and bumping to the point that the doors on the base floor were bowing out and busting open. They were trying to police people and tell them, please don't jump. Hey, don't jump. We're gonna shut the rave down if you keep jumping. It's a rave. Like, I've never been to a rave where you don't jump. It was stanky. The deodorant was grounded with the FAA. The room, teeny tiny. Me, Tall Bun Bun, and Bun Bun walked in, and we were immediately like, I think we're going to be in danger if we go in here. We tried, and they were not stopping or capping at the guests that were coming to the rave. They just kept letting people in. You could genuinely see the floor bowing down, and I thought we were all going to die. It was the worst at the center. And then when you went downstairs, you could also see the ceiling bowing, and you could see the doors flying open and closed. And we packed our things and we left.
When did the medical emergency happen?
It was a con classics. The ambulance showed up for some undisclosed cosplayer who probably fell out from not having any water and getting heat stroke from this hot room.
Oh
Um,
yeah, they ran out of water.
yeah, they ran out of water. They basically ran out of food. And
Yeah, that happened too.
it was just a mess.
And then the floor texture.
The creme de la creme was at the floor, felt like a microfiber cloth, and it snagged on my skin. That's how it felt. It was just there to make me mad. I crashed out after that. On top of everything else, I just crashed out.
Yeah.
The drive back was still bad, even though Ani and I were trading back and forth. Bun Bun was like clocked out in the back seat. We were so exhausted after this convention because Bun Bun stayed awake the whole time coming in, but leaving, gone immediately the second that they got in the back seat. And you and I were trading back and forth, and every time one of us was driving, the other one was passed out. At one point, I swear I fell asleep at the wheel. I'll be 100% with you. I think both of us, because we were trying to keep each other awake. And then you gave out, and I was like, I'm up. I didn't do this. And then I woke up, and I was like, oh my God. Oh my God.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
They had to pull over in the middle of the night so I could take back over because I was like, we gotta make it home now.
It was so bad. Like we were almost there. I think we were just about to hit Charlotte, and I just remember it was bright lights, and my eyes were doing what I think your eyes are doing, and then my brain was starting to tell me to just go to sleep. Like my body was like literally done, and I just like clocked out for like a split second, and I thought I killed us. It was so bad. So when you feel like you need to sleep, y'all, it's not worth it. Just pull over, take a minute, and then get back on the road because it's just like. And then you still had to get back on the plane, and that was a fiasco of getting back to the airports too.
Yeah. Bun Bun left first, so they
Mhm.
immediately had to get back on the plane. But I stayed, I think, an extra day, so we got a little bit of breathing room.
Mm-hmm. And now I think since then we've had that extra buffer day, honestly.
Yes, extra day every time. I just can't do anything else. Post con is always hard.
Mm-hmm.
I'm always whooped. To end all the sea of bad, we actually did make pretty good money compared to other conventions we have done in the future after this convention. But due to all the bad that took place,
Yeah,
I kind of felt like it wasn't worth it.
it was not worth it. And I know there was like a lot of contributing factors because like the FAA really was the jump start to the awful. But it was just that it makes me never want to fly for conventions. Like if both of us have to fly somewhere, I will forever feel nervous about it, especially since we barely have an FAA now.
From now on, after that convention, I make sure to travel the day before and not the
Mhm.
day of.
Yeah.
That's also how we messed up because we decided that we were going to travel and leave on the same day.
Right. We were trying to cut cost.
That was not the move. I should have come up the day before, and then we might have even avoided this whole FAA thing, and then we could have left when we were ready to leave. Any closing remarks for Otaku Fest, or?
Please do better, and we're not your insurance policy. That's what we wrote in the script, and it still stands.
Amazing. Artist Alley hot takes at the end. My Artist Alley hot take is I think you should stay until the convention is over before you pack up. I do understand people who can only vend at the convention for a certain amount of time and you got to catch a flight or blah blah blah, do what you got to do. But I think if you haven't made your money back, you should try to stay because you're never getting your money back for you sitting there.
Mm-hmm.
So you going home, it just solidifies the fact that you're just not going to get any money back.
We had some people pack up early, because I know I left at 6 at Pop Cult, but some people left at 3. We typically stay the whole time. When we did Ink Fest, we stayed the whole time.
You never know when you can get a sale. A lot of our sales, we ended up getting at the last minute because we decided to stay. Talk to my husband about this because he was the person that helped me when we were at one of our conventions that a lot of people weren't doing well, so they just was packing up. And he was talking about that maybe it's just a time, they want to respect their time and stuff like that. And I'm just but you paid to be here. The time is gone.
Mm-hmm.
The money you spent on this, you will never be able to get back unless you stay out and see if you can recoup it back at this convention. Or it's just gone.
Like, obviously, you'll make more money later on, hopefully at other places, but like the money you put into this convention, you're not going to get back unless you make your money back at this convention.
Yeah, my partner is also like that. He kept saying, let's just go. Let's just go. And I'm like, no, Temptress, I'm staying. 10 toes in. We paid to be here. And I also told him that Anita will beat me up.
That's fair. That's fair. There's a difference between people who do Artist Alley for like a hobby and people who want to do Artist Alley as their job.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're doing it as your job, you need to be there. Because like if you open a business and you happen to not make money that day, are y'all just closing down early? No,
Right.
They tell you to stay open.
Yeah, shutting it down. Yeah, because it kind of, and then it makes it kind of look bad for the artists that are there. Like, it kind of
Mhm.
takes the seriousness out of the job. Because one person made me so mad at the event I just went to. I hadn't put that video together, so no one knows yet. But someone went by and they were like, oh, yeah, these are just like people selling whatever, or they don't have real jobs. They're just here. And I was like, we're an LLC. No,
Huh?
he said we weren't a real business. They're like, these aren't real businesses. It's just people selling stuff. And I was like, excuse me, sir.
Honestly.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's not a good look when there's like 3,000 empty tables around you. Or okay, my hot take to jump off of your hot take is why buy the booth and then not show up?
Oh, yeah.
That happened a lot in the past years. That
I
people-
hope maybe something like really bad happened that they couldn't make it, or they got a better opportunity is my only two like justifications for something like that.
Mhm.
Other than that, I don't see it either.
I don't understand. Like, show up to work. show up to your job. Let me see. I feel like my hot take is just be a good neighbor, you know?
Oh yeah.
One of the a couple of events we've gone to, people have either laid all out in the Artist Alley walkway, their displays blocked you in, or they genuinely just threw trash on the ground and it's just like gross everywhere. So it's just kind of like, can you just be a good neighbor? Like, owl. And then the people behind you that are going to clean this up have to clean up after you. Like, some people will literally just like leave trash everywhere. They'll put their displays away. There's zip ties all over the floor, chip bags, crumbs, anything. It's just laying all over the floor, and it just like doesn't make us look good as people. And then the convention centers are also like, if we bring these people here, it's going to look like a bowl of trash.
That's all the time we have for now. If you are interested in hearing more from us and following our small business journey, please subscribe here on YouTube. Check out our Instagram and our website, OKASHII, okashishop.com.
And if you liked what you heard here today, we'll be posting monthly episodes on YouTube and Spotify, along with bonus episodes on our Patreon.
Thank you so much for listening.
See you next time. Bye,
Bye,
bunnies.